professor, physician, epidemiologist. I am Dr. Sri Banerjee. Hi, I'm Dr. Sri Banerjee, epidemiologist, biostatistician, a faculty member. In this video, I'm going to go over and walk you through a little bit about the global burden of disease and how you can extract simple epidemiological measures from this website. Global burden of disease, I've been actually working with this group a number of years, looking at several projects. And so over the years, I've gained some insights. And so this is actually something that looks at uh, around 200 countries around the world, and just takes a look at kind of the composite of what is going on globally. And so this is similar to a mosaic plot where the visual shows the kind of the chunk of how what percentage each of these conditions take on. So if we're looking at like disability adjusted life years, this is an important measure because this is something that is taking into consideration not only living, but just how disabilities play a role in that. The other measure that I wanted to kind of bring to your attention um, is the YLDs. Um, and this is a measure where you're trying to it's a measure of and so this is a measure of years of healthy life lost due to disability. These are all good measures of morbidity. I encourage you to look into them and see which one you think serves the best purpose in communicating the effect. So I can now go into some of the more specific conditions. Diabetes, you can take a look at that. That's one of the conditions that I've provided as an option. So the percentage of diabetes is 2.79%, and you want to make sure that all the selectors and the settings, you know exactly what that is. Like this is the global burden of disease, but then you can actually change that to look at any sort of country or any socioeconomic status. This can give you some really good insights as to where your country or location is in comparison to others. Stroke is another one, lung cancer. So just go through these and take a look. And the whole purpose of this exercise is to explore and see what you can come up with as you're understanding the basic and foundational concepts of epidemiology. Thank you for listening. So in this bonus section of this recording, I'm gonna be actually going over a way to generate maps from the Global Burden of Disease website. It's actually really simple, pretty straightforward. Actually, from the previous display that I had, you could have just clicked on the map feature on the top left, and something like this would have appeared. This is a map of life expectancy at birth, and this includes both sexes, all races, all ethnic groups, and this is for the year 2012. So we can kind of go through the time frame through the number of years, and go into 2013 and see how all of that has changed over time. We can see some problem areas, some hotspots where life expectancy is not quite where we need it to be. As you can see, whenever you're looking at a hotspot analysis within a map, you want to make sure that you know that what all the colors actually represent. Life expectancy really is a true measure of all of the different disease conditions that take place within a community and how it affects the individual, how it affects people within the community at large. And so when you have places, for instance, South Dakota, North Dakota, places where there's red, this is of concern when you have in Mississippi, Alabama, a lot of counties like that. Um, so we can we can actually make this statement that this was just 2013. These trends do not persist any longer, right? So what we can do, a couple things we can do to see if that is in fact the case. One, we can do a time trend and take a look. And the time trend shows that life expectancy has in fact increased. So at the maximum range, this is showing uncertainty intervals. At the maximum range, it has increased, but at the minimum range from 2000, some of the minimum rates actually did increase for a while, but actually has gone down. So Oglala, Lakota County, I've reported on this specific county. I've actually visited personally this county and the community college that was there. And in fact, it has gone down, and this is alarming. Back in 2000, the life expectancy was actually more than what it is today. So work needs to be done, and as you can see, this is a prime example of how we can use this map effectively to try to understand general trends, but this is not just useful for general trends. You can use this for easily for chronic diseases. You can go into risk factors. You can look at alcohol use. You can look at diabetes, but guess what? It's not just diabetes. We're looking at undiagnosed diabetes, diagnosed diabetes, looking at diabetes awareness. So it's not even the fact that how many people actually have diabetes within the community. How well do people know about what diabetes in fact is? That is a problem, and a lot of times that's something that is not that common. I did a community level assessment. One of my original research projects actually entailed assessing diabetes knowledge test, and lo and behold, surprisingly, there were quite a number of people that had misconceptions about diabetes and scored low, even if they did have the disease condition. So again, something else to be looking at. If you want to just look at diabetes diagnosed, you can take a look at this. And again, looking at the color patterns is especially important. And take a look through time. Has it changed? Has it decreased in certain counties? What you can do, you can actually change this administrative division to specify a specific county. So you can kind of work through this. Sometimes there's data available for more recent years. Other times, unfortunately, there is not. And for seems like for diabetes, we only have data available through 2012. But that's okay because then we can actually even see if the trends have changed in some of the southern states. It seems like from 2004 onward, it's only increased in diagnosis. So we see the problem spots. We see the problem spots over time, and then we can do something about it. Hypertension, same way. Obesity, same way. Let's take a look at obesity right quick. 2006. And then we can progress through time and see if there's been any changes and there's been increases. So this has provided you with a good overview of chronic disease conditions, data that you can derive from chronic disease conditions. And if you really want to figure out what is exactly going on in a specific county or even a specific state, all you have to do is hover over it, and you'll find the prevalence proportion, and then you can record that, and justify why that is the most important measure to be looking at. And you can narrow it down to males, females, and disease conditions. So I hope this has given you a good overview of how to uh, conduct this basic epidemiological study, and thank you for listening.